I've just got off a one-to-one call with someone who has completely changed my outlook and mind about the RC-600. Hey, what's going on? It's JP. Welcome to the channel. If you've never been here before and you want to learn all about live looping, live streaming, and all the tools you need as a modern musician, then you've come to the right place. Have a look around the channel, click subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll know when the next video is out. And if you're into looping and want access to all my courses, have a look at the community on school.com called the Loop Academy. It's also here on YouTube as well. Now look, I'm a big RC-600 fan. I've made lots of videos about it. I've made a course about it, which you can go and get on Loop Academy. You can also buy it outright as well on my website. And I've kind of had my brain slightly fried because of the way this is customizable. I wasn't planning on making this video at all. It's all based on this one-to-one I've had with the client. And they've just turned around and said, I want to get a new looper. And I said, that's cool. How many tracks are you looking for? What are you looking to do? And they already do looping. And they said, I need 2 tracks. I'm thinking of getting the RC-600. I got taken aback by that a minute and said, sorry, you want only 2 tracks and you want to buy the RC-600. What's the thought process here? And they said this. Well, there's the RC-500, there's the RC-10R, there's the new X dual looper, there's the Sheeran Looper Plus, and they said, you know, they're all great, but then you need to add things on top. And they're not far from the truth. All those loopers have some great things, and I think the one that has sort of the best for singer-songwriters is the new X dual loop stereo, because you get the extra pedal and it's got some really usable effects on there. If you haven't seen the video for that, I'll put that in the cards now. But they said they wanted an RC-600, and I went, hang on, why? And the answer is really simple. They want to use the RC-600 with built-in effects. It's all time synced, and then they want to use loop 1 and loop 2, but they wanted independent controls for each track. So therefore they want 4 buttons. If you look at all the different 2-track loopers, you have to switch in some way. Even the RC-500 and the new X dual loop stereo, you have to switch tracks. Having the RC-600 gives you a couple of advantages. And the thing about this is you can actually have 3 different modes. You've got mode 1, which is tracks 1 to 3, and then that's white. And you press this button and it goes into mode 2, and then you press it again, it goes into mode 3, which is the blue one, and then you can press it again and go back. They don't want to do any of that. What they want to do, I believe, is so incredibly clever because it gives them expansion. What they're planning to do is have tracks 1 and 2, and that's it. So they've got a record, play, overdub for each track. They've got a stop and clear for each track, and they've got an undo and a redo for each track. Then what they're planning to do is change the remaining 5 buttons on the RC-600 for what they want. Actually, they're only going to change 4 buttons because they are going to keep that as an all-start stop. Now, for this person in question, they want to use the rhythm section, and they need a dedicated button to do that, and they're going to put that on button number 7. Then on pedal number 8, they're going to use tap tempo and then also a rhythm variation. I've shown that little trick before about using 1 button to do 2 things with the rhythm, and it's really clever. That leaves these 2 at the bottom, and all they want to do is add effects. This means you've got an RC-500 with effects on steroids, with the rhythm section that you can change. You can start and stop all, and it's 1 patch. And today I'm going to build that patch, and then I'm going to send it over to them, but also I'm going to give it to you. Underneath this video, there is a link to this patch. So if you want to go and grab it right now, you can do. To build this patch up, I'm going to build it on here. Now I can build it with the RC editor, which I think is much, much faster, but I want to build it on here to show you where things are and also how it's done. The real clever part of this means that you don't need anything else. You don't need an FS6 or FS7 pedal. You don't need any external effects because it's all built into here. They've said they're not even planning on getting a pedal board. They're just going to have this and then plug it into power and then plug what they need into it. On the system, it's actually labeled in modes. So they're not going to touch mode 2 or mode 3 for this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, and 9. Now, if you haven't seen my video about customization and how to customize the board, I'll leave that in the cards now, but let's just go over this right now. So pedals 1, 2, 3, and 4 are loops 1 and loop 2 out of the box, exactly the same way, no problem. So we're not going to touch them. We're concentrating on these 5. To do this, I need a new patch. So give me 1 sec, and I'm just going to go and find a free patch that I have not used. There we go, patch 91. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rename this. So I'm going to go into loop. I'm going to go across 1. I'm going to go into name, and I'm going to rename this. Okay, so I'm calling this 2 loops and effects. So therefore, I know which one it is. I'm going to write that to the memory by clicking exit and enter, and just click enter again. And then there you go. So number 91 on my looper is 2 loops and effects. So first of all, before you make loads of changes, make sure that your RC-600, when you're changing the pedals, is per memory and not per system. So if you change this, it'll change across all 99 memories if it's on system. So just go into menu, go across one, and then go into control func. Before we start changing anything, go across one again, so page right, and then you'll see preference. Make sure that mode 1, 2, and 3 is on memory, and then you can also do all clear as well. You can put the controls on system, whatever you want. But the key one is modes 1, 2, and 3 is memory. That's key, that when I make changes on memory number 91, it's only making it on memory number 91. So once we've done that, we can actually go in and start playing around with this. So to do this, we go into menu, we go across one, and we're going to go into control func. So let's go into mode 1, and pedal 1 is track 1, our first track, record/play 2. So that means record, play, undo and redo as well, all on one pedal. That's the default anyway. So then pedal 2, we're going to go track 1, stop 4. So if you stop it, then by tapping it, if you hold it down, it'll clear it. So this is for track 1. We're doing exactly the same for track 2 on pedals 3 and 4. So pedal 3 and 4, they're kind of the same, and that's it. That's all we need on that, no problem at all. So then what we're going to do is I'm going to skip pedals 5 and 6. We're going to go over to pedal 7. Pedal 7 is normally to change the modes. So actually change the modes between 1 and 2, or you hold it down to get to the effects. Or what you can do is you can do what I've done, and you can change it so it just cycles through it. I've got a short video about that. But we're going to go over to pedal 7, which is this one. And this one is actually going to be rhythm start stop. So I'm going to use this dial here, and we're going to find rhythm start stop. Now to find stuff real quick, what you can do is you can actually scroll normally, or you can hold down and scroll, and it kind of goes through the chapters. So if I do that now, there we go, rhythm start stop. Nice and simple. So when I press it, the rhythm goes on, and when I press it again, it stops. That's what we want. And you can see it's flashing there because I've started it and stopped it. That's great. So we'll click exit on that. Pedal 8 is going to do two things. One, it's going to be a tap tempo, but also it's going to be rhythm variation. So we're going to change between rhythm variation A and rhythm variation B, or C and D, whichever one you want. So therefore, with pedal 8, we need to do two things. The first one is tap tempo. So again, I'm going to hold down and scroll through, and tap tempo is there. And tap tempo has a really cool trick where you can actually tap tempo, and you now can see them flashing away. It also shows you where the number 1 bar is because it actually flashes red. Also, if you hold it down, it'll revert to what it was previously. So if the memory is set at 120 beats per minute and you change it to like 90, if you hold it down, it'll go back to 120, which is cool. Now, in order for tap tempo to work, that has to have two inputs. It has to be press and then press again, and the gap in between, it figures out what the tap tempo is. That makes sense. But then there's a little trick I've done in a previous video where if you just press it once, nothing happens, but you can change it for rhythm variation. Now this is where we need to come out of here and actually go into assigns. And we can use an assign, and I've got a spare one here, and we can change this to rhythm variation. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use assign number 4. It doesn't matter what the number is, but I'm going to go into assign number 4. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to actually have the source as pedal 8 on mode 1. So we're going to go over to mode 1, pedal 8. We're going to have it as toggle, so we toggle between. We're going to have the action low as 0, the action high is 127, go across one, and the target for this is rhythm variation. So if you hold it down and scroll, you'll find rhythm, and you have to go quite a way around. There it is, rhythm variation. So let's say I wanted to start on rhythm variation A, but then when I press the button, I want it to go to B, or let's go to C. Okay, so that's fine. And I can prove that works because if we come out of here completely and then we go into rhythm, let me hold that down. You can see I'm at A, and if I press it, it just jumps over to C. Now, I'm going to be careful with pressing it here. You'll know I've just changed the tempo, but there we go. So the tempo is changing, 1, 2, and you'll notice the variation changes as well. Be aware with this that when you go back over to the memory, you need to have the variation on the one you want first. So now we've got our rhythm start stop and our tap tempo, and I've set the tempo, I've just tapped tempo, and I've just set it to 120 beats per minute. This is a good place to pause, and we'll go exit and enter, write that to the memory. So that saves that. So if I mess up, and it's not going to do anything else. Pedal 9, I'm not going to touch because it's all start stop That's the way it is. That's what the default is. I'm going to leave it there. Now, a quick one for you. I'm playing around with the RC-600 right now, but I've just announced that I'm going to make a course for the RC-505 Mark II. Its brother, which has actually got the same brain, but it's a tabletop looper. Now, I'm building the course as I speak, and that course should be out mid to late January. And whilst I'm building the course, you can get a whopping 30% off the RC-505 Mark II course. All you need to do is go to the link in the description box for the course and put in the code RC505. However, there's also a 50% off if there are any codes available. There was only 10 very special codes available. I'm going to throw them up on the screen right now. I don't know which ones have been used. If you can try one of the codes, then you're going to get 50% off. If you're on the Loop Academy, both on here or on school, then you'll have access to that course when that course becomes available. But if you want to buy the course in its entirety, so then you just pay once and it's a lifetime thing, then you can get access to that and get a really huge discount. Thank you to those who already have, and also thank you to those who've given me some suggestions for what to put in the course, because we are looking at it from a singer-songwriter loop station point of view. And there's some really cool tips and tricks I want to show you with this from a singer-songwriter's point of view that you can do with this looper. Now, let's get to the effects on the RC-600. Okay, so we've almost set up everything we need. It's just these two right here that are going to be our effects. Now, I'm going to pick two effects for myself, but you can pick whatever effect you want. So these two are actually going to be effect A and effect B. My B is my bass. I always have a bass effect for either playing the bass on the guitar, but mostly singing the bass through my voice. And the other one I'm going to use as a boost for my guitar. To do this, we're going to go back where we were into menu. I'm going to go across one. I'm going to go into Control Funk, into mode 1, and I'm going to go page across, and then pedal 5 and pedal 6. Let's start with pedal 5. We're going to change that over from record track 3. I'm going to hold that down. I'm going to move over to input effect A. So we're going to make sure that's on input effect A. That's it. And then we go out and we go into pedal 6. And you can see this is actually turned off. See the way the color's gone? I'm just going to lift that slightly so that you can see that there. So that's that, and that's fine. And then we need to do the same with pedal 6. So we're going to scroll that across over to input effect. I'm going to be input effect B, and that's it. But it's not, because we need to tell the RC-600 what those effects are. So again, good housekeeping. This is a good time for me to save. So I'm going to click exit and enter, write that to the memory, and that is now saved with all the pedals the way I want. Okay, so the last little bit is telling these two what they actually are. We've got all the pedals the way we want them. So now we just need to go into loop, go across one to input effects, and this is where we can dictate what those effects are. So with the first one, I said we're going to have this as a boost. So let's go to input effect. I'm going to go input effect A, and this is going to be for my guitar. So let's change this over to a preamp, and then what we can do is we can change this, maybe have a little bit of difference with the off mic, the mic position. Let's have it as a dynamic 421, and then we can change the level. Let's put that up to 60. So it's going to make it sound a little bit more like an electric guitar, give it a bit of boost if you're doing a solo, fine. And then once we've done that, just click exit. We're going to go over to effect B. I'm going to click this, and mine's already set because I have this on B anyway. For me in my brain, B is bass. So I use the G to B, and you can see the balance there is 50. I don't want it to be 50, I want it to be 100. And then I'm going to have that on mode 1. Now that's selecting them, and that's fine. So if I turn that on now, you'll see that these go on, and that's fine. But right now, they're going to affect everything that comes in. So that'll affect the microphone as well, and this will affect the microphone and the guitar. So I want this one, which is going to be my guitar, and this one to be my vocal only. So the way I've got my board set up is you can see these blue and red connectors here. So the blue is voice, and the red is guitar. You might have it a different way, you might have it on different inputs, but mine come from the XLRs. And they're not stereo paired, so it's mic 1 or mic 2. So the blue is voice, so therefore the red is guitar. So therefore this needs to be the red one. It needs to be mic 2, which is my red. I've just got to think about that for a second. So what I'm going to do is in effect A, if I click it and then go to the left, it tells you what the insert is. And this is what is being inserted. So I actually want that only to be on mic 2. And then let's get out of there. And then the effect for the bass, I want that only to be on my vocals. So therefore I go into the effect, click left. I want that to be on mic number 1. So when I click this, the microphone gets affected, but the guitar doesn't. And when I click this, the guitar gets affected, but the microphone doesn't. All set up in less than, 10, 12 minutes? So therefore now I'll exit and enter, write that to the memory. So what I've now got is I've got 2 loops with drums, with changing of drums and 2 effects, and I can start and stop it all. I don't need anything else, don't need the FS7 pedal because I've got those 2 loops there. I've got the 2 effects that I want. Now you could change this. Maybe you don't use the rhythm section, so now these 2 become free. You could have more effects. Or what you could do is you could have these 2 as effects and that just start stop. It's totally up to you. Maybe you need 3 loops, but then what you want to do is you just need 2 effects. This thought process of having everything inside the RC-600 without having any additional gear is just really, really cool. And it is what sets it apart from all the others, is the complete and total customization. Now, if you haven't seen that customization video, I've made a ton of videos for the RC-600. So instead of scrolling through the whole of YouTube, I've just made a playlist and put every video I've done for this right here.